ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment. We need to take a moment of silence. We need to take a moment of silence. We need to say a prayer for the fellow troopers that we lost this weekend in the NFC divisional weekend. Number one, rest in peace to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They put up quite the fight. Doug and the boys, Trevor Lawrence against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Tough game, fell short. It is what it is. The Buffalo Bills, rest in peace. They got exposed by Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati defense at home. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to the New York Football Giants. We witnessed an absolute murder. History repeated itself. 38-7 in the Link. We all saw it coming, including myself. Rest in peace. And last but certainly not least, rest in peace to the Dallas Cowboys. Or rest in unpeace to the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas will Dallas. They've shown it all the way. Dak Prescott in a legacy game. F's in the chat, my brother. Folded like a lawn chair. Not really much else to be said. A 29th year of not making it to the NFC Championship game is sad. It's sad. It's really sad. It is what it is. What's going on, y'all? It's another day on the Day One podcast. I'm your co-host, Anthony. Co-host Kyle is MIA. He's got some personal business to take matters with. Give me a second here. Sorry. Trying to figure stuff with trying to figure this out with Kyle. Trying to get the link. Okay. Sorry about that. What's going on? It's the first ever Day One live call-in show. Am I expecting anybody to call in? Probably not, honestly. We're just gonna be BSing about the games for about an hour or so. Hopefully some people decide to show up. Kyle might show up for a couple minutes. We'll see. But listen, we're going to recap these games. We're going to recap these games from Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be talking. I'm amped. I'm ready to go. I had to come on here and talk. We're going to talk about these games. We're going to talk about the conference championship games coming up. Yeah, man. But I will leave the link right here pinned up. If you want to call in, go to the link. I'm going to post it a couple times. in the comments section. So right here, if you want to call in, you want to talk, you want to give us your opinions on football and any other sport, call in this link right here. We'll be posting on our Twitter momentarily. Yeah. So, you know what? Without further ado, let's talk about some of these games from this weekend. Eesh. Sorry about that. I gotta take the shades off. I'll share the screen. We'll talk about some of these matchups here real quick. What do we like? Do we like this? I like this view. Yeah. So can we see? All right, we can see. All right, so let's talk about this first game here. The Chiefs taking care of business in Arrowhead, in the Arrowhead Invitational, 27-20 against the Jags. You know, this was an interesting game. I mean, it was close, tight, whatever you want to call it. The Jags came out and they played some really good offense. Patrick Mahomes gets hurt early in the game, like second quarter. High ankle sprain is what they ruled. And it looked bleak there for a little bit. It looked bleak. You know, you don't really know like what to expect. A lot of unknowns. They had Chad Henne come in, but he held it down. Travis Kelce clutched 2 touchdowns. And Kansas City defense stepping up when they had to. I mean, that home field is huge. My only concern with the Chiefs coming out of this game is the health of Patrick Mahomes. Whether he's in there or not, or sorry, it's very very dependent on their success if he's in there and at 100%. If he's, I mean, and don't get me wrong, an 80%, 75% Patrick Mahomes is still like a top 10 quarterback. But you have to wonder, like, listen, the teams that you're playing at this point in the season, they do a lot of things well, and getting to the quarterback is one of them. The Bengals showed that against the Bills, which we'll get into that game. And the 49ers and the Eagles, who they'll be playing either one in the Super Bowl if they get there. Two of the top 5 two of the top 5 fronts in the league, without question. So we saw how Patrick Mahomes, he did not want to run at all, and when he did, it was painful. High ankle sprains are not fun. Jalen Hurts was dealing with a similar injury last year. Persevered through, but still, man, it's tough. That is a tough ask. And it definitely affected him there for a little bit. He came back in the second half and bandaged it up, taped it up, and did what he had to do to win the game. But against the Cincinnati team, which we'll get into that, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. But the one thing that they do have is that they're at home. Andy Reid's your coach, one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. Yeah. So, and you know, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who really expected them to get to this point, right? It's just absolutely insane for them. Starting the way that they did, they were what, like 2-6, 3-7 at one point, and just to come within a touchdown of going to the AFC Championship, speaks volumes to the job that Doug Peterson has done turning that franchise around. And dude, that's going to be a dangerous team for a while. They're young and very talented, and look, you got to look at the Jags next year as a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. I mean, they got these rookie guys on rookie contracts, and they're trending up. They're getting Calvin Ridley back next year, which is gonna with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Travis Etienne, and another year for Trevor Lawrence to be under the system of Doug Peterson. That's going to be huge. That's going to be absolutely huge for Jacksonville. And if they can get a couple splash free agents this year, man, they're going to be. I'm gonna hop on the Jags train now. They'll be a top 3 team in the AFC. It'll be up there in that Chiefs, Bengals, Bills conversation. But again, you guys see how the offseason shakes out. Guys, stuff changes, things happen. But we'll see. I mean, they had a phenomenal year, and you can't say enough about the job Doug Peterson has done, like absolutely flipping the culture in Jacksonville. From Urban Meyer to Doug is night and day. And it's evident. I mean, the third largest playoff comeback in NFL history is insane. Yeah. So we'll give our flowers to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And shout out to the Chiefs for moving on to the AFC Championship, which they will be facing the Cincinnati Bengals, who took care of business 27-10 on the road in Buffalo against the Bills. This one was a not really like a shock for me, but I didn't expect the Bills to be this flat. I mean, the Cincinnati defense just absolutely dominated them. Josh Allen looked not good. And the Cincinnati Bengals just did whatever they wanted. Jamar Chase went off. Joe Mixon. All them guys. That's a really scary bunch to play right now. They're peaking at the right time. They're hitting on all cylinders at the moment you should be. And look, I'm gonna say it right now. If Patrick Mahomes is not going to be like 75 to 80%, and his game's going to be severely compromised by this injury, the Bengals might get off him the 4th time. And even when he's been healthy, they've had the Chiefs number. So, we'll see. We'll break that matchup down a little bit, but that's really the main thing for me. I mean, Joe Burrow, I love the post-game interview that he gave. When they asked him about the neutral site, and he's like, listen, a lot of people are going to be having to request refunds now because it ain't fucking matter that, this neutral site bullshit. Fuck that. We're going to Arrowhead. So yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, and to Kyle's point, his bracket is still perfect. The playoff bracket we did at the start of this, it's still perfect. He's still, what is this now? We get 6. He's like 10 for 10 now on his picks. So salute to our co-hosts for, picking these games right. Yeah. Let's move over to the NFC here. We'll start with my Birds. Why the hell not? The Eagles absolutely steamrolled the New York Giants 38-7 at the Link in the crib. This was just from the start an absolute domination of massive proportions. I don't really. What can I say? Where can I start? I mean, Jalen Hurts came out the first throw, a 40-yard bomb to Devontae Smith, and had a QB keeper on that drive as well to be like, hey, the shoulder's fine, fuck off. And they walked down the field, they scored, they stopped Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, walked down the field again and scored. And you saw the frustration early. When it was 14-0, the frustration was already kicking in. And it was literally the first quarter. And there was like, all right, this game is over. um, the Jonathan Gannon's he called a fantastic game. Mixing in some zone and press man and blitz. He sent quite a few blitzes. And you know, when you're playing a team for a third straight time, you both of them know they know exactly what the other team is doing. And the Eagles just out executed them in every single facet. Um, and you know what? To make it funny, bro, listen, January 21st should be a national holiday in Philadelphia, or well, a national holiday in the world. It should be National 38-7 Day. You know, 5 years to the day, the Eagles put up 38-7 to go to the Super Bowl against Minnesota, and 5 years later, on the exact same day, in the exact same facility, they put up 38-7 against the Giants to move on to the NFC Championship game. It was absolutely a vibe. It was absolutely lit. Jalen Hurts looked good. 2 touchdowns. Yeah, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And the running game too. I mean, they had 262 yards on the ground. Kenneth Gainwell ran for 121 and had a touchdown late in garbage time. You know, and that just goes to show you. I mean, when you have to worry about Jalen Hurts as a runner, it really, really neutralizes the defense because when you're running the zone read RPO concept, you got to worry about the quarterback keeping it or not. And then if he keeps it and breaks a couple yards, I mean, he breaks like 2 or 3 like decent runs. Now you got to worry about, all right, this guy's going to keep breaking. Then you hand it off to the running back and, you know, they do their thing up front, create the holes. It keeps everybody on edge. And then getting that going also opens up the passing lanes because it just makes everybody like stand there for a second longer just to think and process what's going on. You know, it's not like all right, I know exactly this is a run. They're in this formation, they're running. Okay, they're in this formation, we're gonna pass. We're gonna pin our ears back and blitz. With the Jalen Hurts zone read concept, you can't really pin your ears back at one thing and just spam it the whole game. It really keeps the defense honest. And it just it went to show you Giants had no business being out on the field with the Eagles. With all due respect to the Giants, they had a phenomenal year as well. Again, another team that you really didn't expect. Like, hey, they probably should have won like 6 to 7 games in like a rebuild year. But for them to go, what was it, 10-5-1, and win a playoff game, get to the divisional round in a rebuild year, absolutely phenomenal. So kudos to Brian Daboll and the Giants. For getting as far as they did. They had a really good season. Daniel Jones made strides, but listen, he didn't play the Vikings this week. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. Hassan Reddick was an absolute beast, and he had these boys in his nightmares. He was waking up the night before like, oh no, Hassan Reddick off the edge, like the Dwayne Wade or no, not the Kevin Durant commercial. That was Daniel Jones the night before playing the Eagles, and sure enough, his nightmares came true, and they got packed up. And the Eagles, I mean, in convincing fashion, move on 60 minutes away from a Super Bowl. 60 minutes away. Listen, Eagles fans everywhere. This is the expectation. This moment right here, NFC Championship, 60 minutes from a Super Bowl, 120 minutes from another Lombardi. This is the expectation every year. This is our expectation. And get used to it. I mean, this core nucleus of guys, they're young and under contract. Get used to it. This is the new. Remember when Doug Peterson said after the Super Bowl, "Get ready for the new norm." he was our, what they say in The Big Short. He was early, but he wasn't wrong. This is the new norm. So listen, Eagles fans, get used to it, because the window is open for 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years. So yeah, I mean, what a time to be a Birds fan, really. What a time to be a Birds fan. I mean, we're all witnessing history. You got to sit back and appreciate it too. Like all year, they've just been so dominant. The defense has been historic good. The offense has been unstoppable. Jalen Hurts has taken the biggest step I think anybody has ever seen in a third year quarterback, second year starter. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. AJ Brown was really a non-factor, but did he really have to be a factor when you had 260 yards rushing, and that was more the entire Giants offensive output. That was like 240, I want to say. Do you really need AJ Brown? AJ Brown did nothing, and we smoked the Giants 38-7. Like, this team is just they're my team right now. I'm sorry, like, and completely unbiased. I mean, obviously, I have my Eagle bias, but like, out of all the teams, the Eagles and the Bengals are playing the best brand of football right now. In my opinion. That's just my opinion. Kyle was here. He'd be arguing me the Chiefs and the Niners. But that's cool. Let's get into the last divisional round matchup from last night. 49ers and Cowboys. Low scoring, close defensive grudge match. 49ers take care of business 19-12. Late CMC touchdown put them up 7. And they really didn't look back from there. I mean, it was really who's going to score a touchdown. Not a lot of scoring. These are two of the top 5 defenses again. Clashing, duking it out. The 49ers just did it the longest. Like in the first half, the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, overall, they played a fantastic defensive game. Especially in the first half where they were getting to Purdy. It was just in Philly Mike's live. Shout out to Philly Mike. He put up the passing chart from Brock Purdy, and 12 of his 19 completions came over the middle and to the right side of the field. And you saw it was like waste barons on the left side of the field over on the numbers, the hash. And there was a couple times there where the Cowboys got pressure on the right side of the line or interior, and Brock Purdy rolled to the left, and he looked like a headless chicken. He didn't know what the hell to do. He was just running around doing shit, throwing up ducks, spinning around like a ballerina. He really did look like a headless chicken, like rolling out to the left. And they were able to mitigate CMC early too, so they had the run game in control, and they really were struggling there. But just the Dallas offense was struggling too. The Niners had a really good plan. It was a shame that Pollard got hurt. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, that's a dirty play." It's football. Shit like that happens. Like weird, stupid shit like that happens. Or he's just trying to bring him down. It's not like he's trying to hurt him or anything. It just so happened that his foot got caught up in there, and it got bent. He sat on it. Don't really think there was anything too in depth with that. Although the 49ers. They are chippy. They are a little dirty when it comes to some tackles and out of bounds. Especially when it's not going their way. I mean, frustration comes, and they got a short leash. They got a short leash for sure. It's kind of karma though for the Cowboys. You had you had some of the Dallas radio announcers talking about, oh man, I hope CMC gets hurt. that's karma. You never want to wish bad on any of these players. They're all human too, just like the rest of us. And you know, you want to beat them fair and square and not wish any harm on anybody. At the end of the day, it is football. It's bigger than just the game, man. I mean, this is their livelihoods and stuff, and it's tough for Tony Pollard, but he'll bounce back. Um, yeah, I mean, it was tough, but both these defenses, it was crazy seeing seeing what they played with. Um, but in my opinion, Dallas laid the blueprint. Dallas played the blueprint. We'll get into this. We'll get into this preview here in a second. I don't see anybody in the chat. Nobody in chat. Um, it was those games were quite something. I'll tell you that. It was definitely fun to watch. Um, you know, it was all good. Listen, this is the best time of the year. You got the best teams deep in the playoffs, duking it out for the top dog spot for the bowl, the Lombardi. Everybody's putting their best foot forward, and it shows. It shows. Um, hmm. It's not letting them. It's not letting them share the link. Why not? I don't know. Yeah, I I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the best football is late January, early February. And you're witnessing it. You're witnessing it. um. All right. Let's talk about these conference championship matchups. We'll touch first on the AFC side, and then we'll really begin in the NFC because I got a lot to say about the Perts. But let's talk about the AFC side here for first. Cincinnati going into Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. What Kyle likes to say is the Arrowhead Invitational. Um, oh, at 6:30, this is the night game. Look, this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for both teams. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but you worry about Patrick Mahomes. You worry about the ankle. Is he going to be able to hold up against the Cincinnati defense? Now, listen, Cincinnati does not have like the five-star talent that like the Eagles and the Niners have. But they have a damn good system in place. Zach Taylor has a really good defensive scheme in place. And they play really well. They play really, really, really well as a cohesive unit, and that's dangerous. You don't need to win games, to win championships. You don't need like all of the players. You could have all the players in the world. You could have all the Hall of Fame guys, but if you don't have the proper scheme around those guys to put them in positions to succeed and get everything out of them that you can, then you're just wasting talent. You're wasting time. You're wasting you're wasting their prime. You're just wasting everybody's time and money. Um, so that'll be interesting to watch. Because Patrick Mahomes, he's got sneaky wheels. We really take it for granted because we think of Patrick Mahomes as like this pocket passer. He is a really good passer. Obviously, he's the best quarterback in the league. Him and Jalen Hurts are 1 and 2 in my opinion. But listen, they listen. Everybody was talking about Jalen Hurts' shoulder and everything. Let's keep the energy a buck. Let's keep it a stat. Let's keep it the same. Keep that same energy about Patrick Mahomes' ankle. A high ankle sprain is tough. It's tough. Like the sprained SC joint in the throwing shoulder, that's tough. Patrick Mahomes is getting what? A week? He's getting a week. Not even. Oh, a little over a week. He played on Saturday. He's getting over a little over a week for a high ankle sprain. A high ankle sprain is like typically about like 3 to 4, maybe even if it's severe, like 4 to 6. He's got like a week. And we saw he was hobbled. He looked like an 85-year-old man trying to like running around out there, walking around on it. He is not the same at all. So that is a huge key in this game for me. If Patrick Mahomes is able to play at the somewhat of the level that he was able to play all season long, if he's able to just like stick it out like in the Jags game in the second half, he might be able to squeak it out. But the problem is Cincinnati is not Jacksonville. I mean, Jacksonville is a really good sneaky team. Sneaky good. Cincinnati's defense is better. Let's be real. Let's be honest. The Bengals are arguably one of the hottest teams in the postseason right now. They're peaking at the right time. That's tough. It's really tough. I mean, the Chiefs have a really good O-line. Don't get me wrong. But listen, if he can't escape pressure, it's tough. It's really tough. Andy Reid's going to have to scheme something up. He's going to have to carve up an absolute masterpiece. They're going to need a perfect game. I think the Bengals have the edge in this game, in my opinion. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders. I mean, the Chiefs secondary, in my opinion, isn't really all too much to write home about. But their defense overall is good. It's gonna be a grind out game. But you also have the rivalry factor in there. The Chiefs. This is really the only team that has had their number. If you think about it, the last 3 times they've played, the Bengals have beat them all 3 times. And even last year, AFC Conference Championship rematch. Last year, they lost to go to the bowl. You never know how these things can turn out. Casey could, get one up, finally get over the hump with the Bengals concern, not like getting to the Super Bowl or anything and winning. They've done that before. But they've struggled against the Cincinnati Bengals, and even this year, it was a close game. They ended up losing, and Patrick Mahomes was 100% healthy, 100% healthy. Now you didn't have Kadarius Toney in that matchup. He's been huge. He's been a huge acquisition for them. Kind of being a little Swiss Army knife gadget player. Can catch the ball, can run the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he impacts that. But I think the Bengals will take care of business. I don't really have any doubt in my mind over that. Yeah, that's how I'm leaning right now. I'm not saying that they're gonna get blown out, but it's gonna be one of them games. One of them Cincinnati, Kansas City games. And this really will cement Cincinnati as that team in the AFC. If they're able to get back to the Super Bowl after going last year and being that fourth down away from possibly winning it all, if I mean, if Joe Burrow has like another second to see Jamar Chase burn Jalen Ramsey, we're talking about we're talking about the Bengals different. They would have won the game. Um, so and they've had the experience. They've been there before. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see for sure. But I as of right now, I got the Bengals, uh, narrowly edging out the Chiefs. That's how I feel. And Kyle will disagree to death. To death. Um, he doesn't want to keep it a stack about the ankle. He doesn't want to keep it a stack. He's like, which also I do understand. It's just like the Lane Johnson situation. A 75 to 80% Lane Johnson is better than 100% Jack Driscoll. 75 to 80% Patrick Mahomes is better than a 100% Brock Purdy. Let's keep it a stack. Keep it a stack. But injury has to factor in for something. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough. It's not easy, and it should not be this easy this late in the season. You have literally the best teams in football still standing. When have we been able to say that? This. I feel like every year we draw up like, all right, the best teams are going to be here at this moment in time in the season, and usually the majority of the time it's somebody that we don't expect to be there. Like last year was Cincinnati. We didn't expect them to get this far, but they were there, right? Um and last year also was the 49ers. We didn't expect them to get this far, but they were there. They were that close from going to the Super Bowl. Um you know. So this is really the first year when you think about it that in a while. I'm not going to say that like ever cuz obviously the best teams have been here. But when we look at the landscape of the league and we say that's the best team in the NFC, that's the best team in the AFC, um, they're still standing. They're still standing. We talk about the Chiefs and the Bengals being the two top teams in the AFC, and we talk about the Eagles and the Niners being the two top teams in the NFC. All four of them are still standing for a shot at the Super Bowl. They all have 60 minutes until a Super Bowl berth. That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. So what are you going to do? You have this once in a lifetime opportunity. What are you going to do? So it'll be interesting to see with that game. If the Birds get there, we're going to be watching that. We're going to be watching that game very, very, very close. Another scouting kind of approach that I'll probably take watching the game. I took that approach watching Cowboys Niners. I really, really wanted to see what the Eagles were going to be up against. And in my opinion, after watching that game and walking out of there, I was like, look, we can see either one of the teams, in my opinion, and take care of business. Obviously, it's not going to be easy, but I'm feeling pretty confident. So with that being said, let's talk about the NFC Conference Championship matchup for a minute. 49ers coming into Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. In the link at the crib. Pull up. Pull up. You saw Slay's live. You saw his IG live. What do you say? This shit runs through Philly. Pull up. First game on Sunday, slate at 3:00. It's gonna be a game. I'll tell you that much. It's gonna be a game when you have literally the two best teams in the NFC playing each other for a trip to the Super Bowl. This is gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be a bloodbath. I can't cap. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Gotta win the hydration battle, you fellas. Gotta win the hydration battle. Yes, this is a gallon. We don't do that. The caffeine or the sodas here. It's just strictly water and milk. Um, so I think that's why I've been able to protect my fatherly figure over the years. Um, yeah, man. Listen, I got the Eagles in this game. I on, if you want me to be honest with you, if the Eagles get to the bowl, they're winning the bowl. They're winning the bowl. Whether it's the Chiefs or the Bengals, they're if they can beat the 49, whoever wins this game. Actually, let me walk that back. Yeah, I can't say that. I was going to say whoever wins this matchup is more than likely going to win the Super Bowl. I again, I have my actually, you know what? I don't know. I think I think regardless, I think if the Niners match up with the Bengals, it's going to be tough for them. Um, although at the same time, I don't know. My gut says, listen, whoever was going to win this game right here is winning it all. Um, I mean, two of the best rosters in the league by a mile, by a mile. I mean, you look at what the Eagles put together in this offseason. It's literally like you were playing Madden franchise mode. I don't know. Listen, as an Eagles fan, I don't know how Howie Roseman pulled off all the highway robberies in the world and convinced the league to let him do this. I can't tell you. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Um between trading for AJ Brown, between signing Hassan Reddick and James Bradbury and trading for CJ Gardner Johnson and drafting Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean, um, and even in the in-season acquisitions of Robert Quinn and Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. I mean, this team is just absolutely it's crazy, bro. It's absolutely crazy. It's something you only see on Madden. It's literally only something you see on Madden. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I really don't know what else to say other than it's like Madden. Um, Madden like. Um, and when you look at the 49ers as well, I mean their defense all pro. D'Amico Ryans has them playing at an absolute high level, all pro level. Um, the San Francisco 49ers offense, it's like a redraft on Madden. It's like a redraft on Madden. You got Debo Samuel, um, you got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. It's an all pro cast of skilled players. It really, really is. And in Kyle Shanahan's offensive system, they all thrive. They're able to do so much. They've been doing exactly what the Eagles have been doing to teams. They just light them up. Um, Now, I mean, the quarterback situation has been it's been funny. It's been a really long time. Whether if ever I think the NFL has ever seen this situation with like a team on their third string quarterback still like chugging along like nothing ever happened. Um, I mean the talk of the town in the beginning of the year was Trey Lance. He was he was up and down. He was shaky. Ended up getting hurt, out for the year. Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and everybody just starts going ham. We saw that last year. Jimmy G, they got in the wild card round. They made a deep playoff run, fell short to the Rams. And look, I said at the beginning of the year, I'm like, listen, with Trey Lance at quarterback, the Niners are at best what a wild card team, maybe a divisional winner. They'll be playing a wild card game. Maybe they get like one and done. Who knows? With Trey Lance, With Jimmy Garoppolo, I was like, oh no, they can definitely make a Super Bowl run. Jimmy Garoppolo has done it before. He knows he knows his role in the offense is not too not to do too much. He's just that game manager that just gets it out to the playmakers and just, hands the ball off and whatever. This, that, and the third. Then he gets hurt. He's out for the year. They're down to Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the NFL draft. Who was this guy? Who the fook is that guy? And he came out and just absolutely not only was he the like a placeholder for Jimmy G, but when you look at the numbers, that made the 49ers offense even better. And, he was able to make all the throws, and they just got into a huge rhythm, and they're clicking. Nobody could stop them, and the addition of Christian McCaffrey also helped that. Yeah, I mean, when he's on, they're on, and it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop. I mean, look, you gotta stop Christian McCaffrey, and you gotta stop all their skill positions. But the Cowboys laid a blueprint. They laid a blueprint on how to beat the 49ers. It was just in Dallas fashion that they couldn't seal the deal. They fumbled their own bag again. They did it last year with the whole quarterback draw, then got to spike it, didn't hand it to the ref thing. They didn't know the rule. They did it they did it last year. They did it again this year. On that Dak threw 2 picks. He looked inconsistent again, shaky, decent at best. He had some good throws, had some really terrible decisions. And that last drive, the last 3 minutes of the game was absolutely atrocious to watch. Watching the Dallas Cowboys with 3 minutes left, down 7 with the chance to tie and go to overtime is it's like, listen, the light's too bright. Listen, look, dog said the light's too bright. That's what he said. Dakota Prescott said the light's too bright, bro. It's as simple as that. It don't get much more simple than that. The lights were too bright. Like now, come on. Light's too bright. It's in my eyes. Turn them off. The Donald Trump meme. Turn them off. They're too bright. Lights are too bright. Turn them off. Off. That was Dak Prescott with 3 minutes to go in that game. Yeah, and Dalton Schultz sold them a bunch. Sideline throws, get the feet down in bounds. What is he doing? He caught the ball, lollygagged his ass out of bounds while his feet were still in the air, did not touch the turf, incomplete. That was it right there. The first one was like, dude, that's tough. But then he did it again. And it's like, y'all do not deserve to even be here if you're doing this. Listen, when you're in situational in 2 minutes with no timeouts, down more than 3, and you got to go score a touchdown, they are teaching you when it's less than a minute, no timeouts, and they're running the outs to the sideline. Listen, catch it, 2 feet in, forward progress. Because we saw that even then, he caught on the third one, caught it less than, what was it, 24 seconds when he went out, caught the ball at the side, and they pushed him backwards and out. Clock kept running. That's because he was not moving forward while he was going out. So yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's funny. It's absolutely funny. For almost 30 years, Dallas Cowboys fans have been like, "Oh, this is our year. We them boys." Yes, y'all still the boys that choke. Y'all have not done nothing. Listen, I'm 21 years old, and I have yet to witness in my lifetime the Dallas Cowboys make it to the NFC Championship game. Listen, in my lifetime, the Eagles have gone to the NFC Championship game 4 times. 4 times. This right here in 2023 is number 4. Number 4. Numero cuatro. And the Cowboys, cero. Cero. Zip. Nada. Zero. Zero. I saw this crazy ass stat that said in the time span between when the Dallas Cowboys last made the NFC Championship game, which is when they won the Super Bowl the last time, to today. This is funny. Jalen Hurts' parents had sex. Miss Pamela Hurts, with all due respect, conceived said Jalen Hurts. Delivered said Jalen Hurts to the world. An absolute blessing. He grew up, grew his love for football in Texas as a young boy at the Texans games, as a little ball boy, grew up, played high school ball, learned how to be a man, learn the ways of life, learn the discipline from his dad, his high school football coach, his father at home, went to college, went to Alabama, got benched in the national championship game. Tua came back, they won. Ends up leaving after another year or two there, goes to Oklahoma, finishes his college career as a Heisman finalist, and gets drafted into the NFL to the Philadelphia Eagles, becomes the starter at the end of the 2020 season, gets the job all 2021, 9-8, first round exit, comes back this year, 14-3, and makes an NFC Championship game and is 60 minutes away from taking the Birds back to the Super Bowl. All before the Dallas Cowboys have gotten back to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game. All of that I just said happened before Dallas got back to this point right here. It all happened. And on the road, I too was, my parents, did the stuff. They conceived me. I was born. I lived, I grew up a young buck into sports, racing, football, basketball, blah, 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 blah. Graduated high school. I'm in college, still in college. I witnessed the Eagles win a Super Bowl in 2017, one of the best moments in my life. Everybody said it wasn't going to happen, and guess what? It happened. This right here, listen, I have it as proof. This right here, it happened. I witnessed it with my eyes, my own 2 eyes, live. I remember where I was, what I was doing, everything that happened, the weather outside, what everybody was saying at the time. I remember everything. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. I witnessed my team win a Super Bowl. And I've witnessed my team go to the playoffs. What is it now? 5 out of the last 6 years. And on the cusp of another Super Bowl, all before Dallas has gotten back to the NFC Championship game. Isn't that crazy, bro? That is just absolutely mind-boggling. That's how much of a poverty franchise you have to be. Listen, you have an entire generation of human beings growing up and not knowing, not processing the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are a prestigious, successful when in terms of on the football field, getting to the playoffs, making deep playoff runs to the Super Bowl and winning championships. This generation now coming up does not know the Dallas Cowboys as that. They don't. They have not done any. They have now won 4 playoff games in the last 29 years total. Have not gotten back to an NFC Championship game. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You got to ask yourself, is Dak Prescott the guy? It's year 7. Dak is now 30. 30. 3, the big 3-0. if you're Dallas, you gotta look yourself in the mirror. You have a stellar defense. What are you missing? A quarterback that can get it done. That's what the Cowboys are missing. If they had Jalen Hurts, they'd be exactly where the Eagles are in the NFC Championship game, on the cusp of a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott has shown everybody what he is, and it's just about everybody accepting that. Listen, Dak Prescott he's like a Kirk Cousins. He's a really good quarterback. He puts up good numbers. He's stellar in the regular season. Once you get to the tournament, the tourney, the big dance, and you got to go in there and take care of business, Dak does not have the facilities for that big man. He do not have the facilities for that big man. He does not do deep playoff runs. This is as deep as Dak goes, a divisional round. Divisional Dak. There you go, divisional Dak. That's it. Because that's how far he gets. Yeah, I got so off topic there. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But that's just that's just the way things are now. So about this matchup, I need more water because I was spitting some absolute heat. Absolute heat, fellas. So I'm gonna keep it a stack. The Eagles are winning this football game. It's probably gonna be like I can see this being a 2 touchdown game. Like I don't know, like a 38-24 type score, or or even lower than that, maybe even like a, I don't know, 28-17 game, something like that. The blueprint is out there to beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, sheesh. The San Francisco 49ers. The Dallas Cowboys put out the blueprint to beat the San Francisco 49ers. And listen, I took away a couple things from that divisional matchup. Number one, interior pressure is going to be key. When on Philly Mike's stream, shout out to Philly Mike again. I mentioned this earlier, but he had the graphic of Brock Purdy's his chart, his 19 completions. 12 of those 19 completions came over the middle and to the right side of the field. If you can take away the middle of the field, it's going to be huge. But it starts with getting pressure. Early and often, interior pressure from the right side of the O-line where Haason Reddick is going to be, and he's going to get there early and often. I mean, what can we say? Haason Reddick is an all-pro. He's an all-pro. Defensive player of the year, in my opinion, I'm gonna go with my Eagle bias and say yes. Haason Reddick is playing at a defensive player of the year caliber. And the 49ers are gonna have a tough time containing that. You have 4 guys on that line who have double-digit sacks. That's tough to stop. And when Brock Purdy gets heat and he has to roll to his left, we saw in that game when Dallas was getting home early in the first half, like I said, he looked like a headless chicken. He looked like a headless chicken. He was running around. He didn't know where the hell he was going, what the hell he was doing, running in circles. He looked like, when you're running, when you're playing with your dog and you're throwing the toy around and he's just running. Then not really with any like set destination or a set purpose, but your dog's just running like for no reason. That's what Brock Purdy looked like against the Dallas Cowboys when they got home with pressure, and they sent him to his left side. That's going to be a point of emphasis for the front for the front four, um, getting interior pressure, because when Hassan Reddick comes around on that outside edge, he has two decisions: run to the left or step up in the pocket. You step up in the pocket, you're stepping into Cox and Hargrave. Eesh. They're gonna get there. They are going to get there. Um, I mean, the left side of the line should be a little tougher to crack with Trent Williams, all pro left tackle. Um, I mean, listen, it's going to be a tough matchup. Really going to be a tough matchup up there. I think the Eagles match well in those trenches. And then the second key defensively is mitigating Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you looked in this game, he really carried. He carried. Like they went as he went. Really, honestly. I mean, in the first half, Dallas said it was doing a damn good job of stopping stopping Christian McCaffrey. And listen, I mean, 10 rushes for 35 yards. Elijah Mitchell with 51 yards. I mean, they had timely runs, and towards the end of the game when they really had it in control, they were able to eat up clock and stuff. But look, that's going to be the key. Stopping Christian McCaffrey, and the run game in general. Because the 49ers, let's be honest, the 49ers are a run first team. A run first team, Christian McCaffrey, he gets going, then you gotta try to stop him. They come back at you with the play action downfield stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be a point of emphasis to get pressure and stop the run game. If the Eagles can do that, and Dallas Cowboys really had a good game plan to stop them there. Eagles defense is better than Dallas's. There's no reason why they can't. I mean, and we've seen the Eagles at times struggle with the run game, but they shut Saquon Barkley down this past week. And listen, playoff Saquon was looking dangerous against the Vikings, but again, it's the Vikings. We look here, Saquon Barkley, 9 rushes, 61 yards. They didn't really get much. He really inflated off of that one big run that he broke. But yeah, I mean, really just really didn't do much outside of that one big 30-yarder. So that would be what, 8 for what, 30, 31. So it's gonna be a point of emphasis stopping the run, mitigating the explosive plays. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do as far as Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. You cannot match George Kittle with a linebacker. Like if they're playing with like Kaiser White or Hassan Reddick on George Kittle, bro, stop. He's going to carve us up if they decide to do that. I think the best plan, which who knows if they're going to do this or not, put CJ Gardner, you can mix CJ Gardner Johnson on him for a majority of the time. You can also mix him with a linebacker at times and stuff, let CJ do his thing. And you're going to have somebody trail Deebo the whole game. Deebo's a very physical guy. You're going to have to gang tackle. Dallas did a good job of gang tackling and tackling overall in the first half against the 49ers. You're going to have to check your boxes. You're going to have to be able to get your matchups, win your one-on-ones, make the tackles, make the plays. Because listen, the Dallas Cowboys had opportunities to make plays, and they didn't. They had huge turnover opportunities, didn't make it happen. But back to this Deebo thing. The question for me is, who do you want to trail Deebo Samuel if that's the route you want to go? I don't know Like I said, I don't know what Jonathan Gannon's going to do. I mean, it's the NFC Championship. You got a chance of your life to go to the Super Bowl. You never know. You may never get back here. Got to pull out all the stops. In my opinion, Bradbury has been very consistent and is a little more physical than Slay. I think I really don't know. It's a toss up for me who I'd want covering them or trailing. Because my initial gut reaction was, all right, let Slay trail Debo the whole game. But Slay, in my opinion, is probably the least physical corner or D-back that we have on the out there. I mean, James Bradbury, built, physical. He can get in there and get nasty. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he also gets nasty. That's his personality, is nasty, is dog. CJ Gardner-Johnson is a dog. Reed Blankenship, he's another dog. Undrafted free agent, might I add. Absolute dog. He gets down and dirty, although you can't have an undrafted free agent trailing Debo Samuel the whole game. And Marcus Epps as well. He loves to hit. Absolutely loves to hit. He's always looking to make that big blow. I love it. I absolutely love it. But again, you can't have Marcus Epps trailing on him. Slay's the best corner we got. I think Bradbury's a little more physical, or at least willing to be more physical, and that's what you need with Debo, because you need like 3 guys to bring that guy down. So trail Debo with JB, match CJ Gardner-Johnson up against Kittle for at least like half the snaps. Do whatever you have to do to mitigate these explosive players, because that's they got explosive playmakers. I mean, and then you look at Brandon Ayuk and Jawan Jennings. They're not guys to slouch about. They're pretty damn good. They complement those guys very, very well, and they make huge impacts. But for me, the biggest key starts at Brock Purdy. If we can force pressure early and often, it's going to wreck the game for the 49ers offense. If we can stop the run and move Brock Purdy off of his spots and disrupt his timing, which I can see happening. Listen, you're not playing in Santa Clara. You're not playing in a nice fair weather, blah, blah, blah environment. You're not with your fans. You're coming into probably the hardest place to play in the NFL, in Philadelphia. You're going coast to coast. Time zone switch. You just played a domestic dispute, defensive grudge match with the Cowboys. And listen, that link last week was bumping. I wish I went so bad. I didn't go. I didn't have $400 to spend on the tickets. I don't have $1,200 to spend on this game. I would absolutely kill to go. Shout out Jennifer Slay. I hope we win the giveaway. I'd love to go. It's an absolute dream of mine to go to an Eagles home playoff game. But that's nonetheless. Look, bro, I don't think Brock Purdy comes out of the link alive. And that's just me talking about the defense, bro. That's me talking about the defense. I haven't even gotten to the offense yet. I'm not ready to get to the offense. I don't think he gets out of there alive. He has not seen an atmosphere like the Lincoln Financial Field, the Link. He has not seen it. He's not been in this environment. And like I said, Dallas laid the blueprint on how to stop him and stop the Niners offense. I think the Eagles watched that tape big time and see, look, we have a better unit. Because in the second half, you saw the fatigue start to set in on Dallas, and Purdy started to have time to do what he does. He had time to read the field, get to his spots, get in a rhythm, and then you saw it started to click. It started clicking. Um, but they're not playing Dallas. Now, listen, Dallas has a really good defense. The Eagles' defense is better. Up front, they have 2 starting units. They have an all-pro starting unit. You got Hassan Reddick on one edge, Josh Sweat on the other edge. 2 guys who have combined for 27 sacks this year, or almost 30. Let me look at this really quick. Let me look. Hold on. Josh Sweat's sack numbers for this year, 11. Okay. Yeah, they've combined for 27 sacks. Those 2 edges. 27 sacks. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then you have Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox on the inside, who Fletcher Cox with the additions had on the defensive line has kind of been reborn because he doesn't have to play as much, so he's been much more efficient on less snaps. And then Javon Hargrave again, another guy, 10 plus sack guy. You have, let me do my quick napkin math here. You have over 40 sacks in that first unit. Over 40. That's like an entire team's worth probably for a year, like on average. I don't really know what the averages are but to me, I'd say that's probably about average. That's your first unit. Let's get to the second unit. The second unit, you have Brandon Graham on the one side, who is another 10-plus sack guy coming off of an Achilles injury, which many people thought was going to end his career, and he would never look the same. He's arguably been better since tearing his Achilles. He's playing the best statistical season that he's played in his entire career. And this guy's what, 33, 34? It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts, mind-boggling. BG is that guy. And you know what? I really, really, really hope that the Eagles re-sign him this offseason. I really hope they do. Listen, you can't not do it. I hope he takes like a team-friendly deal or something, but man, you cannot lose BG. Longest tenured Eagle of, I think, 9-10 years now. Probably over that. I think it is over that. But yeah, BG on one side, Robert Quinn on the other side, who is a good player, hasn't really panned out as much as Eagles fans thought he was going to, but it's okay. He's in there with the rotation. He had 18 sacks last year. He's very capable of making that big play, and he's had a couple flashes in the time that he's had. He just hasn't been able to like get that sack. But he's had a couple pressures. He's been able to beat some one-on-ones. He's got tremendous bend. He's still a good player. It's just, he's a volume guy. I think we saw that in the Week 18 match. I think honestly that was probably his best game that he's played with us so far. When Josh Sweat did not play and he was that guy, we saw in volume he was able to get a little bit of a rhythm. He had a couple hurries on Daniel Jones. Yeah. So that's your 2 edges, and then inside you have a combination of Jordan Davis, first round pick, Georgia standout, national champion, Ndamukong Suh, who's that he's that guy. He's that guy. And Milton Williams, great young D tackle that we drafted last year. He's been sensational. And Linval Joseph, He's been outstanding in the run defense. Him and Jordan Davis are like the big guys in stopping the run. It's been huge. That second unit of like Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, and Ndamukong Suh, and Robert Quinn. That's a starting defensive line on like, what I want to say, 60%, 55, 60% of the league? Maybe even more? Those guys are coming off of the bench. They're rotating in. They are the second unit. They're the second unit. Absolutely crazy. I think with our rotation of guys, I think the Eagles will be able to get consistent pressure on Brock Purdy. Consistent. You have an all-pro first unit. Second unit comprised of very accomplished Pro Bowlers, all pros, seasoned veterans, and bright young talent as well. Which that unit alone could start. It could start games. The first unit is insane. And that was the Cowboys' problem in the second half. They got fatigued. The Niners wore them down, and they were able to control the clock. It's going to be hard to do against this front. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really, really hard. Not saying it's impossible, but it's hard. It's going to be hard. Let's shift offensively now for the Eagles. I spent over a half hour talking about the defense and Brock Purdy. So that's ultimately what I think is going to win the Eagles this game and separate them. But the offense, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to stop this offense too. I mean, this is probably this is a top 5 offense in the league for sure. Jalen Hurts, potential MVP. My opinion, I think so. He probably won't get it just because of Mahomes, but he's playing at an MVP level for sure. What he's able to do with the zone read and the RPO is just second to none. His running threat alone opens up every aspect of the offense, whether it's the running game or the passing game. It all starts with Jalen Hurts, and we've seen it. We've seen it firsthand when he was out for the 2 games towards the end of the season against the Cowboys and the Saints. When Gardner Minshew was in there and was in a domestic dispute there Christmas Eve, but and New Year's Day, he got cooked. He got cooked. Is night and day with and without Jalen Hurts. And his running threat has been the biggest reason why defensives have been so honest. They've been so honest. They can't just pin their ears back, like I said, and like, all right, they're running. Let's send the blitz. They're passing. Let's send the pass rushers and drop 6 or 7 in coverage. Give me a second here. You can't do it. You can't do it. His running threat, it just keeps the edges and the first and second levels. It keeps them honest because they have to have proper eye discipline. And if you don't have proper eye discipline, then you're cooked. You're food. You are food. And listen, they're food. Now I think it's going to be hard to get the run game going. You really want to establish the run early if you can. But where the 49ers, in my opinion, are really sweet defensively is their secondary. Now I know they have Mufanga and Travarius Ward, all pro guys, Pro Bowl guys, playing lights out football. But when you look at the Eagles' skill positions against their guys, in my opinion, it's a mismatch, bro. It's a mismatch. All right, maybe you can match Travarius Ward on AJ Brown. Who's matching up against Devontae Smith? Who's going to match up against Dallas Goedert? Fred Warner, maybe? Dre Greenlaw? Okay. Devontae Smith, who's matching up against him? You got to worry about Jalen Hurts as a runner. You can't spy. Just going to get cooked. The running backs, too, Kenny Gainwell, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, they can catch out of the backfield as well. Quez Watkins, I mean, you can burn these guys if they're playing single high, press man, cover one. They do like to play Tampa 2 as well. But another team that plays Tampa 2, the Houston Texans. Yes, they're the shittiest team in football this year, but they played Tampa 2. They played a really scrappy, good game against us, and Jalen Hurts carved them up. He carved them up. Let's keep it a stack. He carved up their defense. This is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I can see Jalen Hurts winning this game on his arm if that's the route that they want to go. I think you have to do justice and get the run game going. I mean, listen, Kenny Gainwell coming out of nowhere. Obviously, he hasn't had as big of a role as he had last year to this year, but to put up a $120 and a tud in a playoff game, you gotta listen. Throw the regular season stuff out the window. This is the playoffs, and it can happen again. It can happen again if they're not diligent about stopping it. Miles Sanders had a quiet 90 yards. I don't know. They said quiet 90 yards. I didn't think it was quiet. But he had a good game. Jalen Hurts ran enough to kind of keep the defense honest. He's very careful and strategic in the plays where he decided to pull it when he went down and took contact and all that other stuff. Still probably nursing the shoulder a little bit, but I think he's just about as 100% as he's going to be. So, he's going to do what it takes to win. So, yeah, it's my motto with the Eagles offense this whole season has been the same line that Kevin Harlan had about Alex Caruso in that one game. I forget who they were playing. Might have been the Warriors. He dunked on KD or something like that off a putback. Kevin Harlan goes, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. And that's how it is with the Eagles offense. You can't stop them. You can only hope to contain them. Now, how do you contain the Eagles offense, you ask? All right, well, here's the keys for the Niners, in my opinion. It's pretty simple. And you kind of go back to the Washington game. What do you do well? Dominate time of possession. Dominate it. Keep away, keep the offense off the field as much as you can. Because without touches, they can't really get into a rhythm. And, the Eagles can't do what they like to do. They love to run the ball, like to do RPOs and stuff. They love to get the pass game going off of it. They can't really get into a rhythm if they don't have the ball. So, time of possession is huge. And the Eagles and the Niners are both very good at controlling the time of possession. Which leads me to believe that this game is probably going to be lower scoring than everybody is thinking. But there is that scenario where, all right, it's going to be a firework. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be a shootout. But I don't think so. Not with Brock Purdy coming in there against this defense. But, we'll see. And I guess the second one really would be to win the turnover battle. I mean, we've seen the Eagles haven't really won a game when they've lost the turnover battle, maybe once, I think. But no, I mean, 4 turnovers against Washington. You don't deserve to win that game. In Dallas too, 4 turnovers. Don't deserve to win that game on Christmas Eve. Granted, it was without Jalen Hurts, and so the Saints game as well. But you're not gonna have those costly mistakes with Jalen Hurts at your as your quarterback. I mean, he commands the team up like the most confidence, cool, calm, collected guy that I've ever seen since probably Kobe. Honestly, he's up there in that MJ Kobe level of like locked in Mamba mentality. Like he does. Jalen Hurts is the embodiment of the Mamba mentality. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I've said it all year. Like Jalen or Kobe can't tell the difference. This is gonna be a big game. It's gonna be a huge test to that theory. Because that defense is not something to slouch at. They're top defense in the league for a reason. They're very opportunistic. They play the run very well. Opportunistic in the pass game. Super fast, super fast. Second and third levels, they fly around and they're very, very physical. But so are the Eagles. The Eagles fly around. They're very fast and they're physical. So it's really going to be who can be toughest the longest. And that's something that the Eagles coaches, Nick Sirianni, all of them, they preach. That's one thing that they preach in the building. Who's going to be the toughest the longest? And I'm sure they're preaching the same thing in the Niners building. So it's going to be telling. So yeah, and really mitigate holding Jalen Hurts in a box probably. Eliminating the RPO, set it like establishing your edge pressure and your edges. Because Dak Prescott ran a couple times and really neutralized them for the rest of the game. And that's one thing the 49ers struggle with is mobile quarterbacks. You look at their 4 losses this year, they were all to mobile quarterbacks. Justin Fields, granted it was with Trey Lance and not Brock Purdy or any of these really, I believe. The Bears, Justin Fields, the Falcons with Marcus Mariota at the time, the Broncos with Russell Wilson. The fourth one, I can't think of it. Patrick Mahomes. They struggle with guys that they break contain. They're a running threat. And the Eagles have that guy. In my opinion, the best dual threat quarterback in the league. Oh, Lamar Jackson's the other one, not Patrick Mahomes. But I guess you can throw Patrick Mahomes in there. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a tough game for sure. I think the Eagles will win this game and go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. This is my opinion. Is like whoever wins this game is more than likely gonna win it all. It's gonna be tough. Oh man. And I'm excited. I'm absolutely amped up for it. I cannot wait to see this game unfold. It's crazy. It's really crazy because as an Eagles fan, I'll give you guys like a little like backstory into like me and my fandom. Because I really became a fan in like 2009 with Donovan McNabb and Brian Westbrook and Deshaun Jackson. But I was like 8 years old at the time. I didn't really I didn't really follow. I didn't like watch it. No, like know what was going on. You know what I mean? But once I got older, I was about 11 or 12, and I got to like start to understand football and like the landscape of the game and stuff and the teams or whatever. And I really started getting into like Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, D-Jack, Brent Selleck, and really probably like 2012 2013 season was really like the first year that I was really like really following the Eagles. That was the year Nick Foles came in, went 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, came in for Michael Vick, and he had us on the brink of a wild card win. The defense couldn't hold up. I remember the division clinching game in Dallas, the Brandon Boykin pick late in the game by Kyle Orton. Oh man, it was good times. But to ride to ride this crazy roller coaster of being an Eagles fan from 2012 to 2023, it's been crazy because it's literally been it's almost like you look at a stock chart. You know what I mean? It has its up and downs, but it's been progressively going up. So you had like 2012, 2013, they made their wild card run. Came out the next year, they started, I think it was like 7-1 or something. Nick Foles gets hurt for the year. In comes Mark Sanchez. It all falls apart. 10-6 and missed the playoffs. Then the year after that, Chip Kelly just went absolute like communist mode and like traded away like everybody. Almost drafted Marcus Mariota, which that was a head scratcher for me. We signed DeMarco Murray, didn't pan out, although he had that hurdle against Dallas, which was kind of hype. We ended up losing that game, though. I think we won. I cannot remember. But we sucked for a while there. We ended up firing Chip Kelly. We were a dumpster fire. Pat Shurmur was the interim head coach. This is like about 2015. And we had Sam Bradford at quarterback. Oh, jeez, man. Jeez. No receivers. Nelson Aguilar, Jordan Matthews, Dorial Green Beckham, and Josh Huff. And then in 2016, Doug Peterson is our head coach. We draft Carson Wentz, number 2 overall, which I was honestly pissed about for some reason. Who did I want? Oh, who did we want? Shout out to my guy, Ben. We want, I think Jalen Ramsey was in that draft. We really wanted him. There's other quarterbacks in that draft. I can't remember that we wanted over Carson Wentz. But it was literally Jared Goff. We traded up with the Browns to draft Wentz. And it was like, well, what the hell, But we ended up trading Sam Bradford. He started his rookie year and played really good. And it was like, all right, we were kind of like on the cusp of the playoffs. Missed out. But the next year was looking up. And then the offseason, they put together the squad of a lifetime. They signed Alshon Jeffrey. They got Chris Long, Patrick Robinson. Trying to think who else was in there. Torrey Smith, LeGarrette Blount. I was hype about that signing. I love me some LeGarrette Blount. And in the draft, we drafted some really, really talented guys. I mean, Derek Barnett, who we also didn't want. I didn't know who he was when we drafted him. I wanted Adoree Jackson because our secondary was really sus. Really, really sus. We had Leotis McKelvin as our corner number 1 the prior year. And we're like, who the hell is this guy? Leotis McKelvin. Think of where we've come, Eagles fans. 6 short years ago, our starting corner is Leotis McKelvin. 6 years later, our starting corners are Darius Slay and James Bradbury. What? This does not happen in Philadelphia. It's crazy. But no, we made big time moves. Successful year. Carson Wentz with the ACL tear, which was it was demoralizing. But when Nick Foles came in, me knowing I watched Nick Foles in 2013, I knew like, all right, he's that dude. We'll be all right. A lot of the fan base was like, we're toast. It's over. It's Rapsies, Scapsies. And I'm like, nah, bro, we're straight. I literally went to the first start against the Giants in MetLife, and we're talking to random Eagles fans. I'm like, yeah, no, I think we're good. I think we got a shot at this, And we're all like, oh yeah, like we can do some stuff. Um, and just a freaking magic carpet ride after the really shaky end of the year, and really the shaky first half against the Falcons. After that immaculate reception number 2, Torrey Smith, that's really when things really started to turn. Nick Foles got into his groove in the second half of that game. We came out of there really close, low scoring, narrow win. And then we went in there the next week, blew the brakes off the Vikings 38-7, 5 years to the day. We did it to the Giants. And in the Super Bowl, to witness the Eagles in the Super Bowl was just like unreal. There's something as a fan you dream of, like your team being in the big game. And all week I was very confident all week that we were going to beat the Patriots. And they came out. They came out in the first half. Really dominated that game against the Patriots. Second half, they obviously made adjustments, kind of got into their groove. The Super Bowl halftime's a little longer than the regular halftime. I know Peyton Manning and Eli Manning said that, they never made halftime adjustments because they're literally in there for like 3 minutes. But the Patriots came out, obviously adjusted their game plan to include Gronk a little more because they were really shutting him out at that point. They came back, they took the lead, they were up 1. And Nick Foles let him down. Like, it was like 8 or 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Let him all the way down. Took like 7 minutes off the clock for a touchdown to Zach Ertz that the announcers and all of the world were like meat riding the whole Jesse James thing that year with the ball hitting the ground and popped up, but he broke the plane. Like, it was a touchdown, clearly. And that's what they ruled it. It was a touchdown. And the stop of the lifetime of Brandon Graham and the strip sack, and just watching your team win it all is just like the most euphoric feeling ever. Like, it's just like all the work that they put in as players, but all the energy you put in as a fan, the blood, sweat, and tears, and just the support and the belief that your team can do it. And when they do it, it was huge. It's absolutely huge. It was like the best ever. I was sitting there like I fucking told you. They did it. Absolutely surreal. Wish I was able to drink at that point, but I couldn't. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I was underage, but that's cool. And after that year, I was like, we're going to run it back. And we had a really shaky season. Carson Wentz was obviously not the same. He was still trying to heal off of the ACL. Didn't even start the year. He came back week 3 against the Colts. And he was just shaky after that. Gets hurt. He's out for the rest of the year. Nick Foles comes in. He's starting to bring that magic back, bro. He starts bringing that magic back. He leads us into the playoffs, squeak in as the 6th seed thanks to the Chicago Bears, I want to say. Yeah, the Bears. Ended up playing them in the wild card game. We knew we could take the Bears. Got lucky on the double doink. And going into New Orleans, we dominated. We dominated the first for the first half. It was like 14-0, 17-0 or something like that. Before the fake punt that they converted, which really was what turned the game. With a chance to win at the end of the game, Nick Foles is driving him down the field, man. And it slips through Alshon Jeffrey's hands into the hands of Marshawn Lattimore. Pick, game over, Eagles lose. So we're on that, like, the euphoric, and we're on that down the decline there. That was heartbreaking. And then the next year, and again, kind of retooling a little bit. looking like we're gonna do some damage. And again, injuries plagued us. Carson Wentz didn't have the guys; they were all hurt. DeSean Jackson played a grand total of like 2 games that year, 3 games. Sad, absolutely sad. I was absolutely geeked the first week against Washington when he went off for $150 and 2 tuds. Oh man. But they 5-9 at the end of that year, up backs against the wall, or 5-7, backs against the wall, with the whole division in front of them, and they went 4-0 the last 4 weeks. We squeaked into the playoffs with guys off of the street: Deontay Burnett, Greg Ward, Boston Scott, the emergence of Boston Scott in that run. Obviously Miles Sanders was there. Dallas Goedert was there. Was he there? No, I think Goddard was hurt. No, he was hurt because we had Joshua Perkins at tight end, and not Jason Kroom. Maybe I think Jason Kroom was there too. Yeah, like who the fuck are these guys? We were trying these guys out for games. Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. Taking guys like literally like who are these guys? And we made the playoffs. We got bounced in the first round by the Seahawks. Jadeveon Clowney had a dirty ass hit on Carson Wentz, had a concussion, out for the game. Josh McCown literally tore the muscle off the bone of his like hammy, and still almost won the game. Which was nuts. And then the COVID year is where it really all started to fall apart. I mean, what were we, 4-11-1. We pretty much cleaned house, drafted Jalen Hurts that year. And it was really like the basement. It's like, damn. Like what deal did we make to get this right here? I mean, this was just like 3 short seasons ago. And now look, 4 wins. We fired the head coach. Quarterback's likely to get traded because he's got benched the last 4 weeks, and Jalen Hurts looked really good in those 4 games. Obviously, like a rookie, but still, it was just a different vibe with the team when he was in. It was looking bleak. It was looking very bleak. And not to mention, you had a lot of older guys. The cap situation was looking very bleak. And we were calling for Howie Roseman's head, but he buckled his bootstraps. They hired Nick Sirianni. They have a stellar draft: Devontae Smith, Milton Williams. Trying to think. This is literally last year. But yeah, I mean, they they turned a corner last year. Obviously they started 2-6, ended the season 9-8, squeaked in that last playoff spot, and got bounced by Tom Brady. It was a good learning experience. And then we came back this year, literally loaded up the fort with all-pro guys, all-pro team. AJ Brown, by far our best receiver since T.O. Darius Slade, James Bradbury, in my opinion, the best cornerback duo we've ever had in our franchise. We've had Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor. We've had Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd, Eric Allen. Like, we've had some dogs. But when you look at the guys in the league, the stature, never had a duo like Slay and Bradbury. And the defensive front, 2 starting units, and our linebackers too. That was the biggest thing for me. Tell me the last time the Eagles had this kind of production at linebacker and this kind of talent. TJ Edwards, Kaiser White. Really not a lot of 3 linebackers. They've thrown Nakobe Dean in there a bit, but they've played a lot more nickel than anything. That's really what the Eagles like to do. They like to play a lot of nickel, not a lot of traditional 4-3. Um, nickel and dime and quarters sometimes, but it's like the best. And they put together Howie Roseman. All due respect, he put together the best roster in Eagles history, and they go out there with a quarterback who's progressed last year. Did put in a lot of work this offseason, a lot of questions. Is this the guy? Is he really a guy in this league? And proved to everybody that he is the guy. He's the more than the guy. He's the entire system. He's the system. He's that dude. The offense went to new heights. Shout out to the New Heights podcast. But literally, they went to new heights with AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts taking a huge step. And really the defense as well. I mean, absolutely stellar. And the big thing for the Eagles is that they were God bless healthy for most of the year. I mean, they caught the injury bug there late at the end of the year with Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, Maddox. He had a bunch of other guys dealing with stuff. But this has been very, very healthy team for the most part. I'm going to knock on wood here. But yeah, I mean, listen, they've been able to stay and do what they've been able to do. And they've gotten to this point. They're 60 minutes away from another Super Bowl. Another Super Bowl berth. Just crazy. Just the short ride 2 years ago that I was like, bro, it's over. We're gonna be like the Houston Texans, the Cleveland Browns, and for it to just turn around like that, and for us to be in this position with Brock Purdy standing in the way of another Super Bowl berth is just insane. And it's just a great time to be a fan. It's just been a huge roller coaster, and I'm blessed to be able to witness this. That's been my story of watching the birds. Yeah. So when I speak about the birds, like I've been here through the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, blah 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 blah. Ain't no fair weather fan in me, that's for sure. That is faux show. Most definitely. And I think, listen, the potential for another one of these is there. It is there. I would love to have another one of these. And with the one Lombardi, I love for there to be two with that eagle logo. I'd love for that to be the case. That'd be fantastic. I hope and pray. But yeah. I got the Birds in the NFC Championship game, and I got the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. And I think if that's the matchup in the Super Bowl, I think the Eagles win. I think they beat the Bengals. Their offensive line has gotten better. It's still not like super good. That's really the one weakness. And when you look at our defense, built from the trenches. And if you can win the trenches, you can control the game. And yeah. And I think we have the guys on the outside to go toe to toe with Chase and Higgins and Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst. I'm not really worried about it. And as far as our offense against their defense, I think it's food. Honestly, I mean, like Eli Apple against Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith was talking like, why is Eli Apple in the NFL? Bro, he's going to cook him. They just have to get the run game going. And look, the Cincinnati Bengals, they got a squad. I'm not going to dispute that, but when you look talent mano a mano, I think the Eagles match up better than the Bengals do against the Eagles. So, with that being said, that's what I think. But yeah, no, it's been a stream. Nobody's called in. I've been talking to the void for 2 hours, so we're gonna call it here. It's been real. We'll probably be back later this week to kind of get Kyle's thoughts. Really wanted to talk my talk. I'm absolutely amped for this game on Sunday. I just want it to come so bad. And I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to see the Birds win. I think they're going to take care of business at home, against Brock Purdy, a rookie. If they made Daniel Jones look like a rookie, imagine what they're going to make a rookie look like in that stadium, in that environment. So that being said, it's been another day on the Day One podcast. I'm your co-host, Anthony. My co-host ain't here. He's doing stuff. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. Whether you're on a plane, on the moon, on the bus, on the sun, in your mom's basement, in your grandma's attic, wherever you catch your YouTube video content, we out here. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. It's the Day One podcast. It's been real. I'm out.